Once upon a time, in a lush green jungle, there lived a magnificent Bengal tiger. He was strong, fierce, and had a thick orange and black striped fur coat that helped him hide in the tall grasses while hunting his next meal. The tiger enjoyed eating many different kinds of animals and would often go hungry for days at a time, because he was such a picky eater. But today, the tiger was very hungry and eager for food, so he left his den early in search of a nice breakfast. As he walked along a narrow path near a stream, the tiger heard a noise that made his stomach rumble. He strained his ears and listened intently. Could it be a deer or maybe a small antelope? If so, the tiger would have a nice snack. But after listening carefully, the tiger couldn't tell what animal was making the noise. So he decided to investigate. As he walked deeper into the woods, the sounds grew louder. That's when the tiger saw something that made his eyes pop wide in surprise. There was a small group of wild boars rooting around in the underbrush. Their tusks glistened in the sunlight, and their coarse hair bristled as they snuffled the ground. And among them was a tiny young boar who looked up at the tiger with big, innocent eyes. The tiger's heart melted at the sight. Hunting this family would be cruel, and so he knew he had to make a decision. Should he hunt the boars or find another animal to eat? After thinking for a moment, the tiger decided to be merciful. He turned around and walked away. But just as he reached the edge of the forest, he heard a loud crash. The little boar had been separated from the group and was now lying on the ground with a hurt leg. The tiger hesitated for a moment, torn between his desire for food and his compassion for the young animal. But hunger won out over pity, and he pounced. The tiger's claws sank into the boar's flesh, and he roared in triumph. But the boar fought back with surprising strength. It kicked and squealed, and the tiger had to work hard to keep his grip on his struggling prey. As the tiger struggled to hold on to his prey, the mother boar came rushing back with the rest of the herd. She let out a loud squeal and charged towards the tiger, who was taken aback by her ferociousness. He had never seen a mother defend her young so bravely. Although scared, the tiger held his ground. He snarled and bared his teeth, trying to look as fearsome as possible. The mother boar wasn't intimidated. Instead, she charged forward, knocking the tiger off balance. The tiger stumbled back, surprised by the boar's strength. This was not the easy meal he had expected. Seeing his chance, the other boars rushed forward, surrounding the tiger and blocking his path. They gnashed their teeth and snorted angrily, their tusks glinting in the sun. Overwhelmed by the sheer number of attackers, the tiger panicked. He had never encountered such a large group of boars before. He felt trapped and desperately needed a way out. In a moment of inspiration, the tiger did something he had never done before. He raised his head and let out a loud, long howl, hoping to scare the boars away. The sound echoed through the forest, sending birds flying and other animals scattering. But to the tiger's surprise, the boars didn't budge. They continued to advance, their anger growing. Realizing that his howl hadn't worked, the tiger knew he had to take action. With a burst of energy, he dashed past the boars, crashing through the underbrush and disappearing into the thick foliage. The boars hesitated, unsure whether to follow. The tiger's speed had surprised them, and they weren't sure if he could turn back and attack them. After a moment of indecision, they chose to stay put. They decided that the tiger was too quick for them, and they would rather be safe than sorry. The tiger had managed to escape, but he was badly scratched up and exhausted from the ordeal. He limped back to his den, nursing his wounds and feeling defeated. When he looked at his reflection in the water, he was shocked at how badly he had been mauled. His fur was torn and matted, and his body was covered in deep scratches. He had never been hurt so badly in his life. The tiger spent the next few days recovering in his den. He ate little and drank only water, too afraid to leave the safety of his home. He felt ashamed and humiliated, knowing that he had been beaten by a group of animals he had never feared before. Every time he tried to sleep, he had nightmares about the vicious boars, their tusks flashing like swords in the moonlight. Meanwhile, the boars were celebrating their victory. They paraded around the clearing, snorting and squealing with delight. The young boar that the tiger had tried to eat trotted proudly among them, its head held high. The other boars nudged him playfully, their eyes twinkling with amusement. They had never seen a tiger before, let alone one that had attacked their leader. They had faced many predators in their lives, but none had been so fierce and powerful as the tiger. Even the tigress, who was usually calm and collected, couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. She knew her mate was strong and skilled, but she had never seen him take on such a challenge. When the tiger finally emerged from his den, he was greeted by the same sight. The boars were still parading around the clearing, celebrating their victory. The tiger felt a surge of anger and shame. He had to do something to regain his honor. With a mighty roar, the tiger charged into the clearing. His claws extended and his teeth bared. The boars scattered, crashing through the underbrush and disappearing into the forest. The tiger stood triumphantly in the center of the clearing, his chest heaving. He had regained his honor, but he knew he had to be more careful in the future. He had learned a valuable lesson that day. Sometimes his prey could become his greatest challenge. From that day forward, the tiger never tried to hunt the boars again. Instead, he focused on other animals that were easier to catch. and whenever he saw the boars parading around the clearing, he let them be. He knew that they were not just a group of wild animals, but a family that would protect their own, no matter what. The story spread throughout the forest, and all the animals knew about the tiger's defeat. Some felt sorry for the tiger, but others celebrated the bravery of the boars. The boars became local heroes, and people from all over came to see them. They had become a symbol of courage and unity, reminding everyone that even the smallest can triumph over the biggest if they stand together. Years passed, and the tiger grew old. He had seen many seasons come and go, and he had learned much about the forest and its inhabitants. He knew that the boars were right. Strength wasn't always about size or power. Sometimes it was about standing up for what you believe in and protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. One day, as the tiger sat resting in the shade of a tree, he heard a familiar sound. It was the trampling of feet and the squealing of pigs. He looked up and saw the boars approaching. They were led by the same massive male who had stood up to him all those years ago. The tiger watched as the boars gathered in a circle, their eyes fixed on him. He knew what was coming next. They wanted to talk to him. The massive boar stepped forward and let out a loud grunt. The tiger listened intently as the boar spoke. He told the tiger that they had heard about his passing and had come to pay their respects. The tiger was touched by their kindness and gratitude. He had never expected the boars to remember him, let alone honor him in this way. As the boars spoke, the tiger realized that he had been wrong about them. He had judged them based on their appearance and their behavior, but he had never taken the time to understand them. He had never listened to their stories or learned about their culture, and now he was paying the price. The tiger apologized for his past behavior and thanked the boars for their support and understanding. He knew that he couldn't change the past, but he was grateful for the opportunity to learn from his mistakes. From that day forward, the tiger and the boars became friends. The tiger learned much from the boars about respect, understanding, and forgiveness. And the boars learned from the tiger about humility, acceptance, and growth. They remained friends until the end of the tiger's life, proving that even the greatest rivals can become the closest of friends.